Good morning. This is Samuel Jacob Kirshner, Voice of the Breeze, welcoming you to our morning meditation hangout. And today, I want to start by playing this track. So we all know this wonderful song. I think it was first by the Righteous Brothers in the 70s. And this song reminded me yesterday. I searched on iTunes because I was dealing with a new term that came to me. Blah, B-L-A-H, the Blah perspective of breath, love, and healing. And so I was searching for an appropriate song, and I stumbled my way into this song, You've Lost That Loving Feeling. And why I wanted to speak about the Blah perspective is that I wrote yesterday on Facebook, right after I discovered the Blah perspective, that from the Blah perspective, Breathe, Love, and Heal, has America elected a reflection of itself that's too disturbing to face and embrace? So just a little background. Every day, I, like everyone else, I think right now, is watching, hearing, looking at what's the next thing that's happening. And of course, I have my reaction. I have my opinion. I've always had one. It didn't start with the president-elect. But I am finding myself trying to bring some perspective into my reaction, which is what I try to do with anything in my life, because I really don't trust my knee-jerk reaction, the reaction that comes from the left brain, from post-traumatic stress, from conditioning. There is no choice. It's very automatic, and yet it's very rational, and it's backed by a lot of past experience. It's that reaction that goes immediately into hate, anger, impatience, and some kind of a sense of entitlement, which I think is false. False entitlement, ego. That shouldn't be happening. That whole notion of that shouldn't be happening. If you are a spiritual person, if you have any kind of spiritual practice, any kind, or if you're a religious person for that, in that respect, you know that at a certain point, all spirituality and religions come down to accepting life on a level that sometimes it's hard to accept what's happening. And, there are times that you can't accept. I mean, when you hear about the death of a loved one or something very unjust happening or going on, of course, there is absolutely something about having a healthy, dismaying reaction, self-protective. If you smell danger, if you smell gas, you want to look and see if there is a gas leakage, and you want to deal with it for sure. However, we can't let that reactivity take the best of us. We can't. I can't. I know. I can't. Because this reaction is inauthentic. It's conditioned. There is no breath in it. There is no investigation. There is no room for any shift of perspective there. And so, if you really want to get in touch with the deeper and the bigger picture of things, which I can't see why not, and not just be like a reaction waiting to happen, and just be in such reactivity that it takes the best of you and you actually become disempowered by your own reaction because it's kind of making you sick. Hatred, I mean, I don't see the point in hating hateful behavior or haters. At a certain point, you start to pay a price for it. It's starting to make you sick. Not to speak about distorted perception. It's tough. It's not easy because something inside is so vehemently wanting to do the right thing, which often is speak up and tell the truth, tell your truth. But you don't stop there. I think so. I mean, I don't stop there. I've learned to live my life. I'm learning. I'm practicing. Really questioning at some point all my reactions. Because I can't, and I don't want to trust anything that comes from post-traumatic stress, from fear, from the ego. But in order for me to access that part in me, that blah perspective of body, love, and breath, of breathing, breath, love, and healing. In order for me to access that, I have to do something. And what I have to do is, I have to turn inside, kind of like give my head a break. This is not something that's done in this realm mentally. I'm too engaged already in arguing with myself. So I need to reach out to something else because it's so all-consuming, it's so powerful. And I need to reach out to my higher power, the breath, my heart, love, healing. And I found a way after many, many years of meditation and inner inquiry and working with people in very dire situations with life-threatening illness and catastrophic life events. I have learned that really all I have to do is first and foremost remember So like remember that I need to take care of myself, of my soul. Make that my priority. Really, I need to take care of myself here. But the taking care of myself is not done by myself, because myself right now is kind of shrunk and constricted into this sort of like Pavlovian dog reactivity. And I have to recognize it. I have to be truthful enough with myself to realize that, oops, there I am in that place in which I am anxious, angry, frustrated, fearful, isolated, all the above. And turn to my breath. Open my heart and be ready, open to being helped by the breath, by life itself. The force of life. It's a direct plea and connection to the force of life itself through the breath, through the heart, through compassion. And once I open myself, once I declare that willingness to be open to receive the help of the breath, my higher power, life, love, my soul. Once I do that, the help starts to come in. And it shifts, it really chemically shifts me. I can feel that something is relaxing, something is calming, simply by just opening my heart and breathing with ease. Not deep breathing, controlled breathing, I mean, many people do all kinds of things, like counting and all this. It's a slowed down breathing. In fact, it's kind of like in this space, it's breathing in on the higher chime, breathing out on the lower chime. It's a slowed down breathing, four to five breaths per minute, as opposed to 20 or 15. But not to get hung up now on that, but to really, the main thing here is the intention. It's very humbling to actually declare right now, with the way I'm going nowhere fast. I can feel it. It happened to me just before this, trying to hook up. There's some technology involved here, and I've been having some problems. And it was like 7:45. And there I was trying to follow the instructions, and it kept telling me that I need a plugin or something. And I don't know from plugins, I don't know how to do it. And I'm getting more and more frustrated, and more my mind is like, oh, it's his fault and it's my fault, and it's why not that and why not this. And I can see that I am working myself into oblivion. And then I just remember, wait a minute, stop. Open your heart and ask for help. Breathe with ease. Breathe from the heart. And I got in, and it worked out. And I have so many examples like this daily of how things seem usually negative. Negative predictions. I know what's going to happen, and I work myself into that mentally, emotionally. And then against these odds, I just breathe with ease, open my heart, ask for help, open myself to being helped, open the door to being helped, to being loved, to being breathed, to being healed, to being whole. and something shifts. And that something that shifts makes all the difference in the world, because it's another level of existence. It's artistic living. It's creative. It's clear. It's lighter. It's more joyful. Definitely calmer. So I can't understand who wouldn't want that, but I do. I can understand that some of us want it so much more than maybe others, because we know the price that it can cost us. And we are maybe at a state of grace in which you just remember how much suffering, how much stress, how much anxiety can be inflicted, self inflicted, because of being set in that way, not able to face and embrace what is happening right now. And just by facing and embracing, the embracing part, especially after you just face the truth of your situation, that here you are again, working yourself into depression, anxiety and depression. That's my predicament. I cannot afford to have another depression like the 5 that I already had. I can't. So I'm willing, I believe me, I am willing to take the time and to stop that madness and to just pay attention and take care of myself and go into my heart and breathe with ease and ask the breath to infuse me with love and healing. And it works if you work it. So work it. You're worth it. So I'm going to play now my Hopi Bless You track, which kind of sums it up in a bit of a more Hopi message, words, meditation, movement. I'm going to try and introduce, while we're doing it, the 5 steps. Shape. Flowing like a river. standing like a tree and making space. Walk like an elephant with grace. So, I hope you have a little bit more of the blah perspective. Breathe, love, and heal. And from that perspective, you can address anything that's going on in your life. Anything. With that added perspective of being in a different state. It's a different state of consciousness. Same picture, different perspective, different relating, maybe more three-dimensional. I think of it often as playing with a fuller deck of cards, playing life, playing whatever it is that we have to deal with a added dimension of who we are, connected to the soul, connected to the heart, connected to our breath intelligence. Blah. And keep it light. Yeah, I can say enough. I can say enough to myself and to the ones I'm working with and interacting with. Enlightenment is really being light. If things get very heavy, and they do sometimes, but they don't have to stay heavy. If they stay heavy, hail a cab, hail an Uber. Don't trust, can't trust what's too heavy. There's density there, there is lies, there is fear. Can't be trusted. I just want to say a couple of words about where I started with this morning, which was I talked about my posting on Facebook, where I said, from the blah perspective, breathe, love, and heal. Has America elected a reflection of itself that's too disturbing to face and embrace? From this perspective of now, the present, where we are right now, I hope. I think we can deal with that question with less defensiveness and just look and see so that we don't make life wrong. Because, at the end of the day, the worst thing that we can do to ourselves is alienate ourselves from life. Make life wrong. Life is bad. Life is dangerous. Life is a bitch, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't translate well inside. There's no. We are life. We are part of life. Although the brain, our mind can paint us into bubbles that are separate from life. That's a lie. Any time that we engage in that lie, we suffer greatly, as the Hopi message says. We suffer greatly. We are part of life, and I feel that we always need to seek connecting to life on a more visceral level. It's a little difficult sometimes in the mind. The mind is almost like a big part of it is constructed to take us away from life, from the life force, being life itself, being a force of life. Not victims. We don't need to be the victims of any administration. So how can we connect to that place in us that can actually demonstrate sacred celebration rather than constantly sitting in this complaint and this negativity and the fear and all that stuff? That if you're honest with yourself, it didn't start in January. It started a long time ago, and it just kicks in. Oh my God, I see it's 8:29, which means I have another minute. So I want to say to you, before I say bye-bye, I want to say to you that if you want to learn more about the work of the breeze and the La perspective, and how you can actually learn to practice it and use it in your life, become an artist of living, learn to breathe love and heal, please go to my website, www.thebreeze.com, BREAZE.com. I look particularly at two programs. One is creating a daily practice, and the other one is the more advanced program, Artists of Living. And just keep breathing love and healing. This is Samuel Jacob Krishna, voice of the breeze, wishing you a day filled with joy, oxygen, peace. See you next week at the same time on Saturday.